Okay, morning everyone. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Okay, good. So welcome back to week 11 tutorials. Hope your weekend was restful and you managed to get lots done. Before we start, I just want to check that everybody here is part of the Viber chat for this tutorial session. Is there anybody here who isn't part of that chat yet? Is there anybody here who isn't part of the Monday 12 to 1 Viber group? No? So I assume you're all, so I can assume you're all part of the chat already? You're part of the group? Okay, Mohammed, are you part of this tutorial session? I mean, are you signed up for this tutorial group? Okay. So can you please leave your number in the chat here on Zoom so that I can add you to the group? And you too, Lorima. Okay, I'll just add you now. While I'm just adding these guys to the chat, please open up your tutorial activity for today. Today we're looking at section views again. So you guys who've just joined the Viber group, the way that we will do attendance we did it for last week and for this week and week 12 is I will assign you guys an activity to do, and you have to complete it by Sunday. Take a picture of it along with your ID number and post it to that Viber group in order for you to get attendance for that week. So I've already taken the attendance for week 10. Unfortunately, there weren't a whole lot of submissions. I think there was about There was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 submissions last week. So only seven of you guys got attendance for week 10. So please make sure that you take a picture and you post it to the Viber group so that you can get attendance. It is the only way for us to make sure that you guys are actually attempting the tutorial activities and actually paying attention to tutorials. Okay, so you have to attend at least 60% of all your tutorials in order for you to pass the course. If your attendance is less than 60%, you will automatically fail. So please, if you know your attendance is lacking, you have this week and next week to make up for it. Week 13, we won't be having any tutorials. Week 13 will be tutorial free. And then we'll have our presentations in week 14. Oh, just that for you as well. Okay, I'll add you as well. No. If you had attended a tutorial last week, you would have known that we were doing this this type of assessment for tutorials. So the fact that you didn't know means that you didn't attend any tutorial last week. This means you miss out on the attendance for week 10. Okay. So for this week's activity, we're looking at the object shown below. Obviously, there's a keyway, a shaft with a key, and some part which then has to be bolted. These are bolt holes. And we are given the following component and asked to draw the section views using a scale of 1:1. Okay. So to get your attendance for this week, week 11, you have to complete the auxiliary activity from last week, as well as do the section drawing for this week's activity. Is that clear for everyone? You have to complete the auxiliary activity from last week. If you're not sure what that is, go back to the announcements, week 10 announcements. Right at the beginning of week 10, it was announced the tutorial activities for last week. One of them was the isometric drawing. The other one was the auxiliary. Isometric was the one you're going to get attendance on. And the auxiliary is the one that you're going to get attendance for this week, as well as the section drawing for this week's activity. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, great. So yes, we're given this part here. We're asked to draw the section view. You can see that this is the sectional plane, or the sectional cutting plane, which means we're basically cutting this shape into half along its length, and we're trying to see what the sectioned member looks like. Now, what's the purpose of having section views? We discussed this a couple of weeks ago. Can anybody tell me the purpose of having sectional views? Yes, Patrick, so that we can see the internal or hidden geometries that maybe you can't see from the outside. Yes. For parts that cannot be seen clearly. Yes, Shivnil. Yeah, that's why we have section views. So maybe in your final project, some of you may have sectional views. That'd be a nice use if you have internal geometries or internal parts that we can't actually see from any of the 6 primary views. So front, back, left, right, top, bottom. If you can't see the specific design component clearly using any one of those 6 views, then you may decide to use a sectional view. Okay, so I will show you now a software model of our part. So you're all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I used a program called SolidWorks to develop this the part that we are looking at this week. Okay, this is a 3-dimensional rendering of the part. And I'll just demonstrate basically what the sectional view is and what we're looking at. Okay, so you can also do this using AutoCAD. But for me, my AutoCAD doesn't work too well. So if you can all see, this is the part that we're looking at. and this is the sectional plane or the cutting plane. And we're looking at half of the object, the section at half of the object. So as we move this plane across, where it's highlighted in blue, that is the sectional projection or the sectional cut that we'll be looking at. Okay. So as we move further in, this is the sectional projection until we reach halfway. So for this week's activity, you will be looking at something similar to this. You'll be asked to draw something similar to what's on my screen at the moment. Okay, where these bits are cross-hatched or they have a hatching on them, just to show that this is the sectional cut. So here, here, along here, here, and here. So this is the three-dimensional. Yeah, you can draw it hand-drawn, or if you want to use AutoCAD to develop it and practice your skills, you can use AutoCAD and upload. But I understand that maybe time is a bit short and you're busy with a lot of other things, so hand-drawn is fine to submit. Okay. So this is the isometric view of our sectional cut. And for this week's activity, we have to draw the isometric as well as the front facing or the front sectional view. It says to draw the sectional view front elevation and sectional view isometric view. So this is the sectional view isometric. And for your sectional view front elevation, it will be something like this. Okay, with your hatching, make sure you hatch it. Hatch everywhere that is cut. So this is your sectional view for this part that we are given. Okay, are there any questions about how to do sectional views or how to know what parts are cut and what are not? No. Okay, so this week's activity is very, very straightforward and very, very simple. Shouldn't be any problem to you guys. You just have to make sure that you draw the component with the sectional views and take a picture and submit it. Okay, that along with the auxiliary activity from last week. So those of you who attended the tutorial last week will know about the auxiliary activity. Those of you who didn't attend the tutorial last week, you can go and check week 10 announcements or week 10 update. And in there, it gives the link to the tutorial activity. There's two links. The first one is the tutorial 8, which is the isometric activity. And then the second one is to an extra activity, which is the auxiliary activity. So you have to complete the auxiliary as well as this sectional drawing. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, so there are 15 of you here in this session right now. So I'm expecting at least 15 submissions. Okay. And please make sure you do. We hate it when students can't pass or can't make it through to the next level just because they didn't attend enough tutorial sessions. Okay, so it's compulsory. You have to attend 60% of your tutorials and 75% of your labs. And only those with genuine reasons or extenuating circumstances with proof will be subject to review. So if you fall short in either one of those two and you have a good reason, then you might be given a pass. But if you don't have a good reason, then please try and make sure that you attend everything. Okay. as for the tutorial recordings, at the moment, they're all being uploaded to YouTube. So if you're not sure what to search on YouTube, I'll send you the link to the channel in the 101 Viber chat. And you can go back and have a look at the tutorials that you've missed. Last week's tutorial has already been uploaded, as well as week 9 tutorial with the project feedback. Speaking of the project, how is the project progress going? Everybody making progress? If we submit both drawings from last week and this week, our attendance will be taken. My main question is, what happened last week for you to not attend the tutorial? Okay, I'll make a deal with you guys. If you guys can submit both last week's activity as well as this week's activity by Friday this week or by Sunday this week, then I might award you guys to attendance for last week and this week. Is that fair? So for those of you who missed out last week, given one more chance, please make sure. So last week's activity, the isometric drawing, the auxiliary, and this section view, if you submitted all this week by Sunday, then you'll get attendance for week 10 and week 11. Okay. These activities shouldn't take you very long, an hour at most to do all 3. So you can just set that time aside for this week. You'll be fine. Are there any questions? Any questions? Again, your project, for those of you who missed out last week, we will be having a presentation in week 14. That'll be conducted during the Zoom session. So for you guys, it'll be from starting at 12, finishing at 2, 2-hour-long session. You'll each be given 20 minutes to present, 15 minutes to actually present a PowerPoint presentation, which you guys have to put together, as well as your final report. And then 5 minutes for question and answer at the end. And everybody in the group has to participate. Okay, so I hope any exams coming up. So we don't actually have any exams for MM101. It's 100% coursework. Short test 2. I'm not sure if we're having a short test 2. I know for sure that you still have your assignment due, and there may be a couple of quizzes coming up. But so far as I know, the main assessment that is a short test, there has been no announcement or no confirmation on whether or not we'll have a second short test. If you are to have a short test, it will be announced right at the beginning of the week by Dr. Kabir. So he hasn't mentioned anything this week, so definitely nothing this week. Possibly something next week, but most of the content or most of the things we're learning at the moment is all to do with drawing. So what's the project Turnitin 15%? Okay, so just to finish off the answer to your question, Shivnil, we probably won't have a short test 2, but that's that's just what I think, but it'll be confirmed by Dr. Kabir. So if you want to find out for sure right now, you can ask him directly. Patrick, what's the project Turnitin 15%? So Turnitin is a similarity index, or basically a plagiarism tracker. So if you have a 15% plagiarism, or if you have a plagiarism similarity index of 15% or above, sorry, not, if you have something above 15%, so 16 and up, then that's deemed unacceptable, and you'll be getting a 0 grade. Okay, so once you check your project, okay, hold on, let me just bring that up, just so I can show you guys what it actually means. Are some of you facing issues with the similarity, the Turnitin? Have you all checked your Turnitin reports? Okay. Okay, you're able to see my screen? So this is your submission portal for the draft report. Big problem. Okay. So here we are. Each one of you, when you submit a report or submit any kind of thing, it'll run it through a program called Turnitin, which will basically check whether or not some of your work has been plagiarized or not. Okay, and some of it is unavoidable, like headings, topic headings, or some of those kind of things that are unavoidable. And if it pushes your plagiarism above 15%, then we will consider it on a case-by-case basis. But if it is your actual content or the words that you use, and they're very similar to something that has been taken from another source, then that's where you have an issue. So for example, this group here by William, 3%, that's acceptable. These two projects here, 33% and 57% is unacceptable. Let's look at this example. Okay. So if it says 57% or anything above 16%, or even something less, you can just click on this, Turnitin ID. Click on this and it'll start to generate the Turnitin report. Have you all done this? Had a look at this? You have? Okay, cool. So again, it highlights certain sections that are plagiarized. And if you click on the side here, it'll show you all the resources where it's been taken from. Okay, so anything highlighted in blue has been something that's been submitted to the USP server, the university. Okay, so this has obviously been taken from the university, but this is an extenuating circumstance, okay, because this was unavoidable. You had to include this. So those kind of things we will discount. Going through, it'll start to pick out certain words or certain phrases, certain sentences that are taken from other sources, and it checks both the internet, uploaded resources to any university that uses Turnitin, as well as the university server. Okay, so certain things like here couldn't be avoided, but things like this with 100%, almost 100% plagiarism, this has obviously been all copied and pasted from a external source. So this is public, this internet resource. And if we click on it, we can actually see where it comes from. Okay, flash floods are very significant as worldwide. Exactly, copy and paste, exact thing. This is what we want to avoid. Is that clear? So if you have something very high like this or very high similarity, you have to rephrase everything just to break up your plagiarized words. Or basically take in the information, make sure you understand it, and then reword it in your own words. Please don't copy and paste directly from external sources. Even if you reference it, it is not, it's not acceptable. Okay, you can reference the information that you got, that you've reworded, and you reference that, but you can't reference something if you've copied and pasted it directly. That's still plagiarism. See all of this, copy and paste directly from external sources. Okay. So if you have a very high plagiarism count, please go through your report and try and reword things as best you can. Is that okay, Patrick? For some of you, when you submit the second time, it'll say like it'll pick up again on your design brief and your design specifications and stuff, and it'll show a very high plagiarism index. But when we open the Turnitin report, we can actually see where you got it from. So if we see like in your final submission, and your problem statement is fully highlighted, and it's blue, we click on this and we can go to the exact paper where you got it from. If we see that it is your own draft report submission, then we will discount that as a part of plagiarism. We'll minus, say, 7% from the 58 to bring it down to 51, so on and so forth, okay? It's only if it's from an external source. So even if we subtract this 7% submitted to university, say this submitted to university was your own work that you submitted before, we will discount this 7%. So your plagiarism will still be 51% because the rest of the information is taken from external sources. Okay, so please go through your reports. Those of you with high plagiarism, please try and reword things as best you can. Are there any questions? Okay, just checking again. Everybody's all part of the Viber group. MM101 tutorial Monday 12 to 1. Not you, Patrick. Okay. Set, I'll add you to the group now. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for attending today, and I'll see you all next week. Have a blessed week.